FOMO will cost you. Hey, how about you fix Arcade1up yourself? And apparently the home arcade community apocalypse is upon us. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Another episode of This Week, the show where we talk about what happened this week in the home arcade community. What is going on? Welcome to episode 133. Man, it's good to see you. Been a pretty good weekend for me. I don't know about you, but I've been pretty productive. Got a few big projects wrapped up, and I need to finish up some editing on some videos, finalize that, and get those out to you next week. Man, I'm excited to get that done, get that over with. Some unfortunate news from the arcade. We're gonna have to part with some big ticket items, some parts, some pieces that have been in the arcade for a while. And these are really just, there was only one Arcade1up that left this weekend. I sold one of my big full-size arcades, the special criminal investigations cabinet that I just I did the review in of the 19-inch Unico monitor. I did that review and got rid of the cabinet. It had to go because I'm trying to make way for some more stuff. You can see that there's a little bit of a change back here. TMNT is usually sitting here. It's over here. It's not. It hasn't gone anywhere. I told you about that. It hasn't gone anywhere. And for those of you that have been watching the show for a while, you can see that there's something that was dim and now is very, very bright. That's right. That's right. Crazy Taxi is illuminated and rocking. Let me know if you can hear the fan running. I've disconnected the main fan of the cabinet, but the power supply fan is still running. I don't think you can hear it, but let me know. Let me know just in case. I don't want that to be annoying and droning. I'd hate to turn the cabinet off, but I will if it's a bit of a problem. So we got something to talk about. What am I drinking? I don't know what you're drinking, but I am drinking Maker's Mark. Actually, this is the last of the bottle. This is the French Oak, my favorite affordable Maker's Mark out there. Definitely, if you're interested in bourbons, if you want to try Maker's Mark, if you're not sure what to start with, this is actually a really good thing to start with. Their other blends are fine, they're okay, but this for me is just smooth. It's a very, very nice combination of some of their higher level stuff and some of the lower level stuff. But this is definitely good. Let's go and take a drink. Tastes so good. Okay, so we know what we're drinking. You know what I'm drinking. I don't know what you're drinking because I'm not with you. But tell me in the live chat. Tell me if you're watching this on the replay. Put that in the comment section. I want to know what everybody's drinking. What everybody's throwing back. Are you sad? Are you drinking because you're disappointed because your team didn't make it to the Super Bowl? Well, join the rest of it. There's 30 teams out there that didn't make it, and all varying levels of depression have set in. But is it a Super Bowl that I'm excited about? No, not really. Don't really like any one of the teams. So hopefully the Super Bowl commercials will be really good. So anyway, enough of that. We talked about the weekend. We talked about what I'm drinking. Let's talk about the poll question. Every single week on This Week, we have a poll question. This week is no different. The poll question, if you jump on over to the chat, the live chat, you can see. Here's a question for you. How much has FOMO influenced your home arcade purchases for the last 2 years, specifically the last couple years? There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. I'll tell you that a little bit later in the show. But how much has FOMO, the fear of missing out, influenced your home arcade purchases for the last 2 years? You have a couple options here. 100%. I only made the decision based on FOMO. Like, you told me I had to get it. I saw other people getting it, and I got it for that, and that was the only reason. And then it showed up in the mail. I'm like, what the hell is this? Oh, that's right. So 100% of the decision was made from FOMO. 66%. So, more than average, it was a pretty big influence. Only 33% of FOMO was, influenced your decision. 0% didn't really care what you thought, he thought, she thought, they thought. It was only what I wanted. So 0%. So let me know what you're feeling, what you're thinking. Let your comments, throw your comments up there. Let your voice be heard. 60 votes so far. Not bad. Jump up there and make that thing blow up. Okay. So drink, poll. We talked about the weekend, and we got one more thing to talk about before I say hi to the chat. We suffered a pretty big loss. Those of us that are, if you enjoy movies, pop culture in general, actors, unfortunately, are human. They do come and go. But for somebody who's a huge fan of the Rocky series and a huge fan of this actor, it was unfortunate that Carl Weathers did pass away over the weekend. It was a damn shame. He was 76, I believe. So he lived a long life. He was active. I mean, he was really active until the end. I mean, he was in the Mandalorian season, the last season, 1, 2, and 3. He was a big part of the show, and it was nice to see him continuing on. Of course, Rocky was why I learned about him, learned about his character. I was pretty young. I was born in '76 when the first movie came out, So I didn't learn about Rocky till later on in life, when the first couple movies I think were out by that time. And so I didn't know about his NFL career and all that. And of course, he was involved. He was one half of the manliest handshake in cinematic history. When he starred in Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and his name was Dylan, and they did the thing, and it was awesome. It was incredible. Everybody, all the celebrities that worked with him seemed to have nothing but good things to say about him. But there's one celebrity, there's one person that I think we really needed to hear from, and the one person that I really wanted to hear from, and that was Sylvester Stallone. He posted something on his Instagram. I know where to share that with you right now.
Of my life, my success, everything. Hello, everyone. Today is an incredibly sad day for me. I mean, I'm so torn up, I can't even tell you. I'm just trying to hold it in, because Carl Weathers was such an integral part of my life, my success, everything about it. I give him incredible credit and kudos, because when he walked into that room and I saw him for the first time, I saw greatness, but I didn't realize how great. I never could have accomplished what we did with Rocky without him. He was absolutely brilliant. His voice, his size, his power, his athletic ability, but more importantly, his heart, his soul. It's a horrible loss. And I'm standing here in front of this painting because it was probably the last moment we were ever in the ring together, and I'll never forget it. He was magic. And I was so fortunate to be part of his life. So, Apollo, keep punching.
So that was a tough one. I'm a big fan of, like I said, the Rocky series, the actor Sylvester Stallone, and then to hear him speak of Carl like that was kind of it was a big deal. It was a big deal. So it's a damn shame. And so at this point, I have nothing else to say, but rest in peace, Carl. Praying for your family, and one last drink for you, sir. You will be missed for sure. Okay, so let's get into the chat. Let's say hi to the top 10. Let's go with the top 10 tonight. Starting with number 1. What was the time? 11:15. Hot on the trigger as always was Beach Native 78. What's up, Foxy in chat? Really wish I could afford that racing cab. Is it still available? I haven't listed either one yet. We'll get into that a little bit later. It is still available. I haven't listed it yet. How much is it, and do you do payment plans? Dead serious. Hashtag Fox Nation. I will definitely let everybody know as soon as I get that thing ready to sell. That and the 6-player X-Men. I'll let everybody know. Coming to number 2. The number 2 spot was Wright's Retrocade. Great short on the diorama. Catch you on the replay tomorrow. Have a gooder. Absolutely. Thank you for catching me on the replay. And yeah, listen. The arcade is big enough for all people. Number 3 is Game Broker, coming in at 11:29 a.m. All right, still haven't even hit noon yet. Y'all are killing it. Hi, Fox. Happy Sunday. What AtGames IP skin is it going to take for you to jump on the virtual pinball market? For me, it has to be Back to the Future. Can't wait for the show tonight. Back to the Future would absolutely be a day one purchase I wouldn't even bat an eye. But I think if you had, Jurassic Park proper would probably be a good one. I'm really interested. We're going to talk a little bit about how FOMO could have maybe hurt some of the early adopters. Really interested to see if they can work through some of those other issues. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. Miss Janine Harris, how the hell are you? Good to see you. Happy Sunday, everyone. Can we get some good arcade cabinets, please? New games? Anybody? Hello? I know, right? It is what it is, right? It is what it is. This is number 1, 2, 3, 4. So coming in number 5 was Darth Penguin 66. Let's get a 4-player gauntlet cab with 1, 2, and legends on it. Come on. What are you doing? I agree 100%. Number 6 is Jason. Lillian, how the hell are you, man? Great to see you, a member of the channel. Everybody, if you want to catch the after show, it's members only. So you got to go down here, smash that join, hit the join button and join. It's $5 a month and you get access to members only streams every single week. Tonight is a good one. I'll talk a little bit later about what we got going on. So yeah. Hello, Fox. Welcome to the apocalypse. You look good for a dead man. Hope your weekend has been a stellar one. Catch you tonight. Thank you so much, man. Coming to number 7 is Gotham City Arcade at 1:11 p.m. Hey, Fox, or hey, Battle, I am so sad that you are selling off some of the Arcade1up cabs for real arcade cabs. Is it true that you are going to the dark side for real arcade cabs? Say it ain't so. It is not so. I said a while back, I am not done with Arcade1up. They still have some stuff that I'm interested in. I'm very interested to see if they go more down the XL road and give us what I think everybody really wants. But I've still got an arcade that's half full of Arcade1ups. I only sold one Arcade1up this weekend. And the two big ticket items are just, I don't want to say they are my projects, but they're not Arcade1ups. So I've still got an arcade, like I said, is half full of Arcade1ups. So no, not going to the dark side just quite yet. So number 7. So coming in at number 8 is hello, Fox. How you doing? Great to see you, Dan Z. Always a pleasure. Always a privilege. Number 9, the bad guy, Mike. Sorry I had to miss your stream on Friday. Talking football, these guys were killing it, and it's exciting to just talk about it for one last time because the Super Bowl is going to be next weekend, and then it's just going to be all sad and depressing, waiting for the next season. But thank you so much for being here. What's up, Fox? I think you're on to something, building your own cab. I appreciate it. We're going to talk about it a little bit later tonight, man. It seems like if we want something, we might have to do it ourselves. That's right. Fix Arcade1up yourself. So coming in, that was number 9. Coming in at number 10 is going to be the random one. DIY is the best way to get what you want in a timely manner. Hope you have a great show. Thank you so much, random one. Great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And it's always great to see everybody. And it's really great to see Super Chats rolling in. Kevin is always kicking it off. Kevin is always starting it off proper. $2 Super Chat. Thank you so much, man. With no 1UP news, are we starting to eat ourselves? And then he follows it up with another $2 Super Chat saying, hey, somebody gift me a membership. I refuse to pay another $1. I've already paid $4. Why should I pay another $1? Thank you so much for your Super Chat, brother. I really do appreciate it. But, I mean, listen, there's only one place for you to go right now, and it is to the pit.
Finish him. Melina wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
That's got to hurt. It's got to sting. You know what's going to make that all better? Like the Neosporin of life. And it's another Super Chat. It's $5 coming to you from Ezekiel's Chicago Retro Ranger, brother. Thank you so much for being here and supporting the channel with your $5 Super Chat. What's up, brother? 100% FOMO hit me. But for real, rare arcades. Cheers, brother. Cheers indeed. Sip for you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel again, man. We got to give you something. What am I going to roll down here and find for you? I know what you want. I know what you need. Here it is.
Can't you do any better?
All right, so we said hi to everybody. We talked about the poll question. We know what we're drinking, and let's go ahead and let's slide into the first topic. FOMO will cost you. I've learned that lesson. You've learned that lesson. We're going to talk about that in some detail tonight. Let's go ahead and start with some personal stories from me. How FOMO may have got to me. Now, I've bought several cabinets, brand new, Arcade1up. One that comes to mind in particular is probably not something you're thinking about. It's actually Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer was a cabinet that I jumped on immediately, right off the bat. And I loved the PlayStation 1 games. Didn't play the original games a lot in the arcade. But I did have a Ridge Racer 2 full-size arcade back when I had just a small collection of 2 arcades at the house. And I should have known from my experience with that arcade that I shouldn't have got the Ridge Racer cabinet. But unfortunately, I did. I jumped on, day one, bought it, and at first it was fun. But it just turned out to be one of those games I almost never played. It was odd. I mean, I thought that it was executed well. The rumble steering was better than what we saw in other cabinets. And like I said, the game selection was pretty good, but I think I don't know what it was. It was probably the fact that you were locked into that first-person view, that bumper cam view that I just didn't play it. I really didn't play it. Another one that had a big impact on me, but I'm happy about the purchase, is T2. I know this is controversial. One game, $700 cab. It's one of the ones I still have left. You can tell. You can see the little blue and green, or the blue and red lights there. Those are the 2 guns. I still got it. I still enjoy it. It's a fun for what it is. Remember, Arcade1ups are compromised machines. And for me, the compromise was right on the money. But the most notable is obviously going to be the most recent, is going to be Fast and Furious. Now, because there was nothing going on last year, when the day finally came for them to release something new, I was all in. I bought 2 of those cabinets right off the bat before they even showed up with the Retro 530 and bought 2 lit coin door kits ready to rock, ready to roll. Let's do this. And, I was all in. I couldn't have been any more in than I was back then. What? Is that like a poem? Did I say what? That was awesome. Okay. Anyway, sorry, moving on. And that was incredibly disappointing. And you know that story. I think those cabinets did find a new home, but that was just something where I think FOMO honestly, at that point, like I had to have something new last year. I'm like, come on, I got to have something. And it was really the fear of missing out because there were going to be so few new releases that year. So definitely it influenced me a great deal. Let's talk about something that's not Arcade1up. I think it was the Unico 26-inch monitor. While it looks great, I mean, you can even see the image. It's in my, it's in the Cruising World cabinet. You can kind of see the image right now. It's a clear image, but they just didn't get the, they didn't crop the image correctly. So it's missing some of those scan lines on the bottom. It's missing some of the lines on the bottom. So you're missing some of the viewable field. They still have not gotten around. I mean, I know they're working on it. They're working on a patch. They're going to get us something out as soon as they can. I know that they got a lot going on with their Nova Blast. I know that the 26-inch monitor works with a ton of games. They've proven that time and time again as far as fitting the image properly. But on some of these cabinets, it's just an issue. It's just something they got to fix. So I would have benefited from waiting. Absolutely. But let's talk about the current wave of FOMO that unfortunately has stricken some of our brothers and sisters in the home arcade community, and that is the AtGames 4KP. It's something else. So let's go ahead and start with some of the drama that's been going on around. Now we know about some of the delays and the shipping. We talked about that last week, but now just a few days ago, we're talking about, well, I guess this is actually 2 weeks ago. We're talking about some of the initial reactions. This is the first wave of their new product. So this is it, right? This is definitely when all the pressure's on for AtGames to get this right. So these are some of the posts that I've pulled from Facebook. You see the users' names up there and the dates. I'm going to give them all the credit, but we're going to take that and just sort of look at what's going on. And here's some of the initial sort of, now there's no big issues right off the bat, but if you read what they're saying, it's not all what it's cracked up to be. Definitely would have been some useful information to have before you bought this. So anyway, here's what Chuck says is finally here, did a quick setup and played a few tables. The only one, and this is killer, this kills me. The only one that I definitely noticed flipper lag is the Addams Family table, which is what the machine is themed as. Hopefully this can be resolved soon. The other tables, I didn't notice it at all. It's a beautiful cabinet. Looking forward to hearing everyone's opinion soon. Odd that the one cabinet that they're having an issue, or the one table they're having an issue with is the one that the machine is themed from. That's the worst one to have flipper lag on for sure. And then you also have, I think it was Eric Bates said, hey, I finally got my my pre-order invoice, which is another whole set of drama with the invoices not coming in and having a wave 1, phase 2, just like it was like the MCU. It's like, what the hell are we doing? I mean, what phase are we on? But you had these different waves and the waves were partitioned in different ways. So they sent out batches of emails, finally got his invoice. But after seeing the flipper lag issue, I'm not so excited anymore. Now, isn't that a damn shame? You're actually dreading this thing that you pre-ordered months prior. You know, these pre-orders started going live in September 20th. It's like the third week in September. People are putting in their pre-orders because remember, there was some FOMO that was initiated by AtGames with those savings. You could save hundreds of dollars if you pre-ordered right then and there. So, there was FOMO induced by some financial incentive, which is a little bit different than just regular FOMO. It's like FOMO times 10, FOMO max. But unfortunately, it doesn't stop there. We also have to talk about some of the major damage we've seen. Now, to me, this is it's inexcusable. I mean, this level of damage, whether this was done at I don't think, and I don't know, I could be wrong. I wasn't there. Who knows? But the fact that this level of damage was done, if it was done at the factory and then they just said to hell with it, ship it, that's horribly, horribly wrong. It looks to me more like this is some kind of a shipping error. Now, we do deal with different shipping companies at the place that I work. I'm not directly involved with the shipping or the purchasing or anything like that, so I can just really say whatever the hell I want. We have companies that are really bad. We have companies that we know that if we need to get something there and it has to be in perfect condition when it gets there. We don't use this carrier. We'll use a different carrier. And this could be, I mean, FedEx, they're kind of a big deal, but they're not really known for some of their, for being kind to some of these $1,500 toys, I guess. So this is just incredible levels of damage. Very, very disappointing. And then, of course, what it's going to cost you is maybe not necessarily money, but a lot of time, especially when you're talking about a piece. This piece on the right is on the back, but the other piece is right there on the front. I mean, that's just on the side. And that's just a huge eyesore. And it may even potentially, I'm not sure exactly where this is, but it could potentially hurt the way that the back box mounts, and you may not even be able to assemble your cabinet if you can get all your parts and pieces at the same time, which is another issue people are having. Also, there was some confusion, a lot of confusion up front about which tables and how we were going to redeem them. And I know this is very early, because this is not going to be the same tables for the regular HD version, the 4K. These are different tables. They're made for the individual machines, so they're different. But some confusion. Joseph's talking about, hey, which one's going to be redeemed when, and how are we going to acknowledge that, and what tables, and it's just confusing. Also, Jason's talking about question regarding the now this is really, you have tables and which ones am I going to have access to? That's one issue. Another issue entirely is, I mean, this is where, to me, it gets major. Like, this is wiring. This is a big problem. Jason says, question regarding this is the surround sound kit. The installation. As I was installing the kit, I came to find that the yellow cable, A, which is called out in the instructions, that you screw down under the metal cover, wasn't connected to anything on the other end. So there was just a wire there, and it wasn't connected at the other end. So that's not good. Now, what is it? I'm assuming that carries a signal, so it does carry some voltage. It's at high voltage, low voltage. I'm sure the whole machine is low voltage, but that's not the point. You could arc and spark against something and pop a fuse and break something. You could really damage something. He said I discovered a loose screw in the cabinet, and the fourth corner of the other metal cover already installed didn't have any screws in it. It wasn't screwed down. So that's not good. So once again, another kind of a big issue, guys. Kind of a big thing for sure. Some of the issues continue. This is Wayne. This is posted a day ago, and all these images were pulled today, guys. So this is from a day ago. He said he went to check all the connectors to make sure they were all tight. Found a wire laying to the side of the main board, reconnected, and everything works fine so far. But I put up a video. He's trying to put up a video to see if anybody's interested. I did make a ticket for that, but could not send any videos or pictures on the ticket. So that's going to be an interesting thing dealing with AtGames if you can't even attach a file. One thing that Arcade1up did, I've had this before where I was trying to get them to send me a new PCB. I had to actually show them, shoot a little quick video on my phone, going through the steps, turning the power on, having the back cover off, showing that everything was connected properly and all that. And then they would send me a new PCB. So after making my connections per instructions and powering up, nothing came on. No lights on the playing field, the back box, the topper, and the panel where it says insert coin. The on-off switch did light up, and you could hear the flippers work. I tried reconnecting the connectors 3 times, still nothing. I do have a wire with a ring end and states to connect to the screw hole on the main board. A connector wrapped, and this is funny, a connector wrapped in bubble wrap with caution. I guess it says it's the sticker, right? It says caution. Don't touch the connector at the end as it may cause damage to the main board. Just curious if those are anything to do with my issue. So that's when you've got cabinets shipping and showing up and there's wires that aren't connected, that's a bit of a problem, guys. A little bit of an issue. But, it's not all bad. You've got some customers like Marcus on the left saying, hey, I got one box, but not the other box. So he got the main package, but the box that houses his back box didn't show up. And then there's a comment. I thought that was funny. So Marcus is saying this, like, hey, just disappointing. I only got one box out of 2. Trying to find the other box. And then the first comment in that, you can see down below, it says, this is from Ben. He says, yes, it took 2 days to get the second one. So you got half of it, waiting 2 days for the second one. I don't know if there's a way they could put both parts in a single box. That may be too much. That may be too much to ask. But if they could at least make sure these things arrive together, like they did for our good buddy Patrick, P-Dub's Arcade Loft, he was able to get everything to arrive at the same time. The main box, the back box, and then his subwoofer kit, his surround sound kit, all arrived, and he said that the boxes look great. So while these are issues, they're not pervasive. They're not. It's not every single person that gets one, but these are definitely some things that it's probably good to see them iron out before you go whole hog and buy this cabinet. Another thing that's good to see, another benefit of waiting, is to see what this thing actually looks like in people's homes next to other V pins, commonly purchased V pins. So you can see the picture on the left. That's how it looks size wise to an Arcade1up. Little Star Wars cabinet there, very cute by comparison. Also, look on the right, you can see how it looks to your stock, your original pinball machine, the HD version, the size comparison, and then there's a real machine right there. So that's interesting to see. Another benefit of holding FOMO at bay and looking and seeing how these things all shake out. So definitely a benefit to resisting the FOMO. So FOMO can absolutely cost you in being informed, like being informed of the purchase. Obviously, there's a lot you don't really know if you just look at what the retailer says, or the company that actually made the thing. If you go to their website, you're only getting the glossiest of views. If you can wait till somebody else gets it, you can get a review on YouTube, or you can see community posts, Facebook, wherever, and you can get a better understanding of exactly what it is that you're getting. But I would be dishonest if I didn't include myself in this conversation in the negative, because obviously I have a responsibility, and it's possible that I also contributed to the FOMO, of which I despise. Come on, we got to be honest, right? On YouTube, talking about this stuff, excited about it, and it's possible that yes, I absolutely contributed to the FOMO, and maybe some of your purchases that you regret, and that absolutely sucks. I hate the thought of that, but it is. I do come from a place of just excitement. I'm excited about this stuff. I'm excited to talk about it with you. But I'm always going to try to be honest and give an honest opinion. And I'm going to try to do a better job moving forward of realizing that FOMO was out there, and that maybe people need to have a super honest take on stuff and not so much skewed to run out and buy this thing right now. There's a ton of benefits to waiting. Wait. If you're not sure, wait. If it's not exactly the table you want or the machine you want, even though you can save a couple $100, what's the point of saving some money on something you don't really want? Or worse, you don't even know if you really want it. Moving right along to the next topic, we can't proceed without talking about the grease that keeps these wheels turning, and that is a super chat. $20. Thank you so much for your huge super chat, man. I really do appreciate it. Lee the Machine Bowers, $20 for the channel. Hey, Fox, happy Sunday. We need a Rocky pinball, and absolutely Rip Carl Weathers. I can think of that. That's definitely, listen, if you do that, I talked about Star Wars, but a Rocky pool table. I've got some Star Wars stuff in the arcade. You do a Rocky pinball table at Games, I'll buy it day one. And absolutely, you can't have Rocky without Apollo. Apollo was the inspiration for the Creed movies that continued the legacy of Rocky forward. It's undeniable the influence he had on one of the most successful franchises of all time. So thank you so much again for your $20 super chat, brother. Man, I really do appreciate it. And what the hell? I'm going to go. Why don't I just go ahead and I'm going to do this. I'm going to dance for you.
Vanilla ice.
I don't just do the Running Man for anybody. So consider yourself special. Speaking of special, Snow Dubs is being special in the chat, dispensing the knowledge. Smash the like button, peeps. It is exactly what you need to do. It helps out the channel a ton. So moving on to the next topic. Hey, you fix Arcade1up yourself. The desperation for Arcade1up news to see Arcade1up move forward is reaching a fever pitch. And everyone is putting in their 2 cents. And everyone is making suggestions. I'm not going to say everyone, but a lot of people are making suggestions on how they could do things better, different, what they should do, what they shouldn't do, all these things. And it sort of came to a head. It bubbled up to the top. And we saw a vocal member of the community plead their case over on Mike of All Trades channel. He has a great channel. It's a great show this every weekend. I believe it's Wednesday or every week. I believe it's the I think it's the podcast without a name. it's a really good channel. Check out Mike of Ultra. Mike is a good guy. Met him, great guy. You definitely want to check him out. He has a great panel every week. Lots of good topics. They're laid back. They're kicked back. It's like a 3-hour show, and just kick your feet up and pour yourself something to drink because it's worth it. But let's talk about a conversation that they had on their show. Check it out.
Money. You're a company, right? Best.
Let Quarter K talk, man.
Go Quarter K. Sorry, I'm sorry. No, for real.
Oh, no, so all seriousness, so I've been kind of asking around, and I gotta see how I can get it. So there's obviously a group at corporate that makes the buying decisions. Obviously, Cyrus would know them or whoever. Actually, John D would know them. John D, you should literally give me that contact information, and I would literally message them with facts at the end of the day. If we as YouTubers, or the community, I should say, let's say we could get 3,000 signatures on whatever cabinet it is. Who cares if it costs? Who cares if it costs? Like, let's just say Tekken, for example, right? Because that could be a viable solution. Let's say we get 3,000 sigs, and we could say, hey, look, Best Buy, these are the facts. Let's just say it's top 10 arcade selling game, and
while Danny's going on his rant here, you see these other guys kind of cracking up, and it's not because what he's saying is ridiculous. What they're saying, where they're coming from, is that they've been down this road before. Let's continue.
We have 3,000 backers already ready to buy this. Let's make it happen. Like, why would you say no to that if you could make money? You're a company, right? Best Buy is a company. Whoever, Shop Hippo. So would you not want to make money? Like, why have Pac-Man sit on the shelf now? I'll check it right now. It's $2.99. Pac-Mania, $2.99. Still sitting there 10 years after release. Like, I don't understand it. Go ahead,
thank you, John.
Danny,
thank you.
I love your enthusiasm. I love it.
Of course, Johnny was there. John was in the chat.
Isn't the same anymore, man. The man that's there is you just got to play him at Street Fighter. Just do that, man. But reality will sink in. Time will tell. And with that whole Tekken talk and all that, it's the wrong man that's there right now, man.
That's actually accurate what he's saying. What John just said about the store number.
Yeah, no. Listen. He's accurate, but look at the store number. 86753.
8675309. Yes. So here's the deal. What Danny's saying is not wrong, and a lot of us believed what he said back in the day. We really did. We were told to get loud. I mean, if those of you who were, talking about hashtag, Mortal Kombat 4, release Mortal Kombat 4, free Mortal Kombat 4, that never happened, unfortunately, because I think that would have been a killer way, to kind of move that cabinet forward and make that cabinet stand out. A lot of us were there. A lot of us were like, come on, if you just do this, if you just do that, let's get you on board. Let's get people signed up. Let's do this. Let's get the community mobilized. That has happened in the past, and it has fallen on deaf ears. And I've said this before, like him or love him, John D had a passion for games that is notably absent in the company now. What's very absent, and maybe I can't speak to the passion that remains in those buildings, in those offices, but I can definitely speak to the absence of the presence that Arcade1up had. The communication that they had with the community. It's been absolutely silent. They forgot how to talk to us, or maybe they just didn't see the point. They didn't think it was important, or maybe, just maybe, they don't care to cater to us, and that's exactly where I think we're at. Their business model, for better or for worse, is structured to sell to a retailer. So whatever the retailers want to buy, they will sell the retailers. The problem is, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. The retailers at this point are kicking themselves because they bought too much of what Arcade1up was selling. They overbought cabinets like Pac-Man XL. They bought too many at Costco, so you saw those get slashed in price. The biggest example, I think, is going to be The Simpsons. Maybe even NFL Blitz is probably the biggest example where they just bought way too much, guys. That's why you saw these things just crater. And the price was, it was bargain basement pricing. It was bad. It was really, really bad. $150. You saw these things in Walmarts. That was what the sticker said. It wasn't like it was some random guy on the street selling them like with a trench coat. Hey, you want to buy an Arcade1up? No, it was Walmart. So that's what that was. So you're going to see retailers scaling back. And since that is their number one customer, you can forget about new titles moving forward. Unless somebody at Walmart or Best Buy has a special affinity for some kind of title, we're not going to see it. And if they say, hey, Arcade1up, why don't you do this? The guy, some fat guy, he's smoking, he's an executive. He said, hey, here's what the kids like. The kids like Mario. You guys get Mario? Yeah, give me some of that Mario. And they're going to say, oh, we can't. The thing about that is we can't because that's Nintendo. Oh, well, it's a damn shame because the kids like Mario. I don't know why they're smoking and coughing. But yeah, so they can't do Mario. They can't do this character. They can't do this. They don't have this license or that license. And so now you need to, where you would have a seasoned, experienced license acquirer, you don't have that anymore. So the basic idea is all the same. We've all had it. Hey, give us new games in different form factors. And for some reason, that easy to follow formula isn't as easy to execute. I think a lot of it is going to be licensing. How much are they willing to pay? You can't go to Sega and pay Sega $1 million just to get their license if you don't have somebody that is going to buy those cabs. That's a lot of money to put up. So if you give Sega $1 million for whatever, Crazy Taxi, let's say. You give them $1 million for Crazy Taxi. Now you got to build a racing cab. Okay, well, we know we can. Let's do. Okay, we got a good emulator. Okay, let's do it. We got a good Sega. Okay, we got the Naomi emulator. We got that locked down. Okay, we know we can do Fast and Furious because we've done that. We'll do that cabinet again. We'll do a better marquee because I hated the marquee last time. And then now we got to sell Crazy Taxi to Walmart. We got to sell Crazy Taxi to Best Buy. Now the only thing that would save that is if they tried to do this in like 2 years, because Sega's coming back with new versions, sequels maybe, to Crazy Taxi. Okay, so if it was a current title in stores now, maybe that would have a shot. But because that's not the case, I don't think anything like that has a shot. Street Fighter has a shot. Mortal Kombat has a shot. Those are brand. Pac-Man will live with us forever. It's going to be like the ET Atari carts. They'll just fill up landfills everywhere. I mean, it's never going to go away. It's the most recognizable, period. It just is. Deep cuts are never going to happen, guys. I mean, listen, they had the most clout about 2 years ago, and they didn't do it then. They had the most clout back then, and they decided to go after Blitz, and they had to make it Blitz Legends. They had to change up a little bit. And when we got Fast and Furious, they had to strip it out and cut it down. And so those decisions right there are not decisions made for the hardcore fans. They're made for the casuals. Mike of All Trades in his stream, later on in that stream, went on to say, listen, you're coming at it from a hardcore fan base. You got the passion. They're looking at it from a casual business side. That's just it. Jolly, if you want to become a member, if you're watching me, take me off full screen, and then you'll see a join button right next to the channel name. Click that and become a member, buddy. I appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. It's awesome. So that's where we're at. So I don't think it's a matter at this point of the person with the right ideas. I think it's a matter of, can they get the licensing, and do they have enough, financial backing to step out on faith to take a chance on a title. So that's a twofold problem. A lot of money to get a good license, and a lot of money to tool up and make a cabinet that you're not 100% sure you're going to be able to sell to everybody, to like everybody. And there's a lot of these cabinets out there already. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You have to deal with, this is a situation that you have right now. So I don't think that you or I or anybody in this community is going to be able to save them, buddy. They're not listening to us. They just don't care. At this point in time, they need a sure thing. They need a bona fide hit. They want mass market. So that's why you have the Infinity Game Table. That's why you have Casinocade. That's their focus. And when you see them doing stuff, what are they doing? They're walking around, Universal Studios in Hogwarts, holding an infinity game table, doing stuff like that. Sorry, guys. It's just the way it is. So maybe we can't fix them, but we can milk it for all it's worth. So here's what we do. All hope is not lost, people. All hope is not lost. The first thing you do, I think you got to take advantage of what you got, what's out there. Let's make the most of it while we have it, while it's still there. In the future, or the past, I guess, is going to be PCB swaps. So, okay, so you want the games that you want in a better cabinet. Well, listen, I think you got to do what I did. You got to find a cabinet that you like, and you got to find a PCB that had the game you wanted and just like put them together. Now, a PCB swap, for the most part, is pretty simple as long as you're dealing with the correct generation. So if you go back to some of those generation 1 and 2 cabinets, all these are going to be interchangeable with the exception of the orientation of the screen. If you put Pac-Man and Rampage, you're going to be disappointed. But the big reason why, remember, these had TN monitors, but that wasn't the big issue. The lower quality wasn't the big issue. The big issue was the aspect ratio. These were 5:4. The nicer monitors, the BOE, were 4:3. So it's a compatibility issue. If you put this in a newer cabinet with a 4:3, you're going to be missing some of the screen, or it may not work altogether. So you're going to have to find a 5:4 compatible screen, and then that's what you're going to be able to do. Now, there are a couple exceptions to this. The Mortal Kombat Legacy that came out that had the poor screen, you could swap that out. That has the 5:4 before they came out with the Deluxe. The one that came out before the Deluxe, that's what you can do. Also, all XL cabinets except for Pac-Man. So I'm talking about Golden Tee, and I'm talking about Shack Jam. Shack Jam could be the best bet if you have one of these old PCBs as far as upgrades. So take a Shack Jam cabinet. You could easily make that a 2-player cabinet, or you could make an awesome Rampage 3-player cabinet out of a Shack Jam cabinet. That would be sick. That would be killer. If I hadn't already done that with a TMNT cabinet, I probably would have done that with my Shack Jam cabinet, but unfortunately, I had to sell it. It had to go, and I found a buyer, so that had to go. But if you're looking to do a PCB swap, stay with it. If you got a first and second generation, these cabinets and some others, stay within this generation. Maybe even consider jumping into a Golden Tee if you find one for cheap, or a Shack Jam if you find it for cheap. Now, I bought my Shack Jam for $399. So the deals are out there. They do happen. Just be mindful of it. So PCB swaps are great. Now, anything after those first and second generations, third generation and up, you're pretty good to go. The only thing that could be an issue is the PCB itself. Oh, I'm sorry, the encoder. So the PCB plugs into the encoder, which is attached to your control panel. Make sure that's going to be compatible. 6-player or 6-button fighters are going to be hot swappable. That's no big deal. That should be just plug and play. So, if you want to put something in a killer, like if you want to take like a Street Fighter, put it in a Killer Instinct cab, or vice versa. They're all 6-button, games. Should be fine. Should be good to go. Mortal Kombat is a 5-button. So you still should be good to go. If for some reason you wanted to put Street Fighter in a Mortal Kombat, I don't know. I'm not going to judge you. You do you. It's just whatever you want to do is fine. So stay within those generations. If you're going to go on eBay, which there's a lot of these on eBay, guys, that's a good source. You can check out just to go to eBay, type in Arcade1up PCBs, and you can find a bunch of them out there. And a lot of times they'll include like the Wi-Fi antenna, and they'll include that encoder, which is important. Sometimes you can get a full kit that includes the joysticks and the buttons so you can get the right button colors. So they're out there. Grab those and put those in the cab of your choice. If you don't like these riser cabinets and you want a deluxe, grab a deluxe and just swap the guts out and put it in there. I just did it with Alien vs. Predator, but that was not a PCB swap. That was something a little bit different. I do have 2 projects in mind that are going to happen that are going to be another PCB swap. I wish that he was still around, but unfortunately, I think what happened, Decadent Dave, is that he was having issues with eBay. Not eBay itself, but people trying to. They were having issues. Maybe they would put their LVDS connector the wrong way. They would fry their PCB, and then they try to hit him and make him pay for it. And so it became too financially. It just didn't make any sense for him, and so he just got rid of it, unfortunately. But you're exactly right. I've got 1, maybe 2 of his PCBs still. I've got some parts I got to get rid of. And if you're a member, you may have early access to some of those parts. Now, going back to what I said, so you have your PCB swaps, which is the easiest way to go as long as you can stay within the right generations. PCB swaps are going to be the future if you want to take an older cabinet or a different cabinet, PCB, put it in a newer cabinet. Swapping those, no big deal. Not a bunch of crazy stuff required. But if you want to do something where they haven't released that game, you're going to have to go a little more involved. This is the back of my Street Fighter 2 Deluxe cabinet. This is what's involved if you want to take and just do something radically different. You have to basically turn your Arcade1up into a shell. Now, you can absolutely do it. And yes, they're saying buy stuff. Exactly. Buy stuff out there makes great kits. You can go to buy stuff. You can take, they have stuff even up to like the Fast and Furious cabinet. Great kits. Buy stuff is awesome. They're great guys. I met them in Cleveland. You should absolutely check those guys out. But if you want to tackle something like this yourself, something purpose-built like my Alien vs. Predator cabinet, it was something specific to what I wanted to do. You could have done it several different ways, but you're going to have to get in there. It's not easy. So you have to take your monitor and turn it into something that can receive a signal with HDMI or whatever. So that's what you're looking at. You're looking at boards that have basically, I've eliminated the PCB. I had to route power to my lit marquee. I had to put in the thing on your right-hand side where the red wires are connected to it. It's stuck to a black box. That is a transformer that steps down 12 volts to 5 volts. I had to drop the 5 volts down to power and a separate amp to push power to those speakers to give me enough volume. There's a lot of things to consider when you're doing this. It's not impossible. A lot of people can do this. Most of this stuff I just bought on Amazon, and it's just a little bit of thought. You just got to take your time and plan everything, and it'll work just fine. And it's possible. And if you've got the shell, which is actually probably one of the more important things is going to be your shell, especially if you have a bunch of 3/4 scale cabinets at home. If you want to keep all those 3/4 scale cabs looking, the same, if you want to maintain that look, you can do something like this, and you can put literally anything in your cabinet. Anything you want, you can do. You swap. Now, obviously, you're going to be limited on your controls, but you can easily remake your control panel. I've done that too. I've gone as far as to have a 2-player racing cabinet out of an old Street Fighter Generation 1 cab. It is possible. You can do it. You can absolutely do it. Another key is going to be catching these cabinets at a price that makes a lot of sense. And a price that makes a ton of sense, at least for me, is $4.99. And that's the super chat that I'm getting right now from KDJ29. Thank you so much for your $5 super chat, brother. Really appreciate it. Great to see you live, Fox. Modding is the only way with Arcade1ups. I got to tell you, it's definitely a way to get something that they will absolutely not make us. Thank you so much for super chat again, buddy. And here you go.
Finish him. Scorpion wins. Fatality.
Talking about the price of what? The cabinets. Get yourself some of these cabinets at low prices, and that will justify the price the cost in modifying some of these cabinets. Now, if you're talking about a PCB swap, the biggest cost is going to be probably the PCB, depending on what you're trying to go after, maybe $100 on eBay. I just picked up I'm not going to say it's rare, but it's a little harder to find, this PCB that Arcade1up made. I got it for less than $100. I got it for $82. And that included the encoder, which is what I needed. So $100 or less, you should be able to get the PCB that you want. And then beyond that, the biggest expense is going to be the artwork. So that's why I love the Capcom, the Street Fighter 2 Deluxe cabinets they just came out with, because they're all black cabinets. They're very, very simple. The artwork is cheap by comparison. It's not free. It's not dirt cheap, but it is cheap by comparison. You don't have to get all new side art on the cabinet. And that price I'm talking about is $299, guys. Now, I haven't seen the Mortal Kombat Deluxe at $299. I think $399 was the lowest I've seen that. But we all remember, just in December, I guess 2 months ago at this point, we saw that the Street Fighter 2 Deluxe was $299. It was a hell of a deal. I got mine on eBay, open box from the same retailer. It was an open box item for I think it was $270. It was like $260 something after before tax or whatever. Might have been $265. So sub $300, and I have no problem spending a little extra money buying some artwork and changing it up, because you're going to be all in for less than 500, depending on how elaborate you get. But basically, the artwork package I got was $150, and I already had all the other stuff. I just had to swap it over from one cabinet to another. So that's it. So if you can pick these things up for $299, it's a no-brainer. We also saw, and this, I think, this is actually, I'm referencing Pac-Man XL right here. That may be an image of the deluxe, but you can also get the XL, which will be an incredible shooting cabinet. You know, shmups. I mean, if you put like Raiden or something in there, or Dodonpachi or whatever you're thinking of, Radiant Silver Gun, if you wanted to go crazy, this would be a great cabinet for that. Just a single player shoot 'em up cabinet would be awesome. That would be really, really fun. And you could maybe do 2-player, but I think a single player would be incredible. Okay, so what Garage Gamer is referencing is Woot.com. They are actually a company that's owned by Amazon. $349 for MK. Check it out. He might be right, because I know I didn't make the purchase yet, so I didn't want to say it, but I guess I'll go ahead and say it now. I did check. They are actually an Amazon company. Woot.com actually also has right now, as of yesterday, they have the Street Fighter 2 Deluxes for $349 also. So you can get those. That's still a pretty good price. It's not $299, but it's still a really good price. So check that out. If you can get those for sub 300, it would be a no-brainer. And listen, I think maybe we can't fix Arcade1up in the way that we want. Maybe we can't get them to make the stuff that we want, but with just a little bit of ingenuity, guys, I think you and I, maybe we can't fix Arcade1up. Maybe we can't save Arcade1up, but we can make them the best that they can be. Moving on over to the final topic, guys, we're talking about the home arcade community and how they're eating each other at each other's throats. It's crazy out there. It's insane. Oh, the humanity. Oh, the drama. Not that I ever thought. People are people, and personalities come out. And when there's nothing to unify a group of people, they sort of descend into madness a little bit. And you can see it in the home arcade community. We should be, and this is just my opinion, you take it for what it's worth, we should be talking about products. This versus that. That thing versus this thing. They made the Mortal Kombat 30th. They made the MK Deluxe, and that was good, but I think that the Capcom Deluxe was better. Man, you're insane. It was the Namco Deluxe. It was that Pac-Man Deluxe was killer. And you go back and forth on those conversations. It should be company versus company. Man, AtGames, they're incredible. Arcade1up would never even dream about doing what they could do. No, man, you're insane. Arcade1up is the best. That's what we should be doing. But we are literally, not everybody, but a lot of you out there are at each other's throats. Not about the games and not about the products, not about the company. I think most of that's fair game. We're getting personal, guys. There's attacks on people's family. There's attacks on people's sexuality. There's attacks on people's spouses. I mean, we've seen this. This is pretty bad. Yesterday, I had somebody criticize my parents and how they raised me, and also my military background. Now, who said it doesn't matter? That's not the point I'm talking about. You've probably suffered some of this too. I know some content creators that have left the space, and they were just trying to make videos and talk about the fun stuff, the games, the companies, all the stuff we talked about. And they saw all this stuff, whether they were attacked directly or indirectly, they didn't want any part of it. They were done. So it's just sad. So a couple things. You can't help what other people do. There's nothing you can do about it. No matter who you think you are, no matter how badass you think you are, you cannot control what other people do. I've been married to my wife for 25 years. I'm sorry, 26 years. Don't tell her I got it wrong. 26 years. I cannot control everything she does. My sons, I can't control everything they do. And if you're in this chat now and you're married and you got kids, you know exactly where I'm coming from. You really, at the end of the day, can't control what people do. All you can control is your reaction to it. So never ask yourself, am I justified by lashing out? Somebody said something to you, somebody did something to you, somebody posted something, blah, 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 whatever. Never ask yourself, am I justified by attacking back? Well, I'm right. No. Here's what you do. As soon as they do that, whoever they are, whatever they are, they go on a list. Mentally, you put them on a list because they have shown you exactly who they are. So you can't rationalize this person. You're not going to talk to this person. You're not going to win some argument. You're not going to score another point. They already got their dig on you. So that's done. So what are you going to do? Are you going to go back and get your dig? And then they're going to come back and it's back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. No, there's no end to that. There's no end to that. So here's what you do. If I said something about you, I'm going to pick somebody out in the chat right now. Jason Little Alien, I think you're a dork. I have just exposed myself as being an ass. Somebody who's just going to lash out at you for no reason. So Jason, you should put me on a list. I'm on a list. I am that person now that is just going to be like that. And so once I'm on that list, I can no longer hurt you. I cannot affect you. My opinion at that point should mean absolute zero to you. It really should. Unless I come back at you with an apology. And right now I'm going to apologize. Jason, I don't think you're a dork at all. That was an example I was using. And if that hurts you in any way, damn, man, I'm sorry. Unless you get an apology for this person, they stay on the list and they that's just where they are. But listen, you're not going to win. So how about you do this? Focus on what you can control. The only person you can control is you. And how about you do this? Do me this. This is a solid favor. Shut up. Just shut up. It would feel good to lash out. Don't do it. Just don't. Because it dies with you. It stops right there. If you knock it off, if you stop it, it stops with you. It ends with you right there. Because you and I both know these are cowards. These are keyboard. They suffer from keyboard whatever. They've got keyboard bravery. They would never say this to you to your face. They would never say this in a bar because they would be flattened. Because that's not how you communicate and talk to people in real life. So don't worry about them. They mean nothing to you. They're on the list, remember? Put them on the list and don't worry about them. Their opinion doesn't matter, shouldn't matter. Don't let it bother you. But control yourself. Do not lash out. It's not worth it. Let them scream and yell at the wall. Who cares? They're showing you and they're showing everybody else who they really are. They're immature. They're fools. They're sad. And, while it may piss you off, you're better off just ignoring them. Because at the end of the day, they don't really mean a thing. Oh, would you look at that?
What the hell?
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up.
Once again, unfortunately, it is that time to wrap it up. But before we go, we got to talk about the poll question tonight. The poll question was simply this. How much was FOMO? How much has FOMO influenced your home arcade purchases for the last 2 years? The last 2 years, tell me, how much was FOMO influential in that decision? Was it 100%, 66%, 33%, 0%, 208 votes? Thank you. 9 votes. Thank you so much for voting in the poll, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end it right now. Boom. And what are the results? So coming in last place, I'm glad to hear this. 10% still, maybe a little too high. 20 of you said 100% of your decision was influenced on, like it was all FOMO or nothing. You didn't even know what you bought. It just came in the mail and you're like, what the hell is this? Oh, FOMO. Damn it, FOMO. You got me again. Coming in third place was 66%. And this is at 19% of the vote. I know this is confusing, 66%, 19%. Yeah, so that was in third place. So the number one answer, and I'm pretty happy to hear about this, coming in at 41%, the number one answer was 0. You pillars of this community. You are an oak. You are rock solid. FOMO didn't influence you at all. So that is absolutely awesome. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Thank you so much for communicating what you think in the poll. I love everything you're doing. especially when you're doing this. It's called Super Chatting. $1.99. Galaga Guy 88, thank you so much for your Super Chat. Reports of Woot is sending out the wrong cabinet. That's not good. That's not good. So if that happens, what you should do is you should blame Garage Gamer.
Hyper combo KO. Game's over. Time to call it quits.
Thank you so much for being here, guys. Listen, the conversation is going to continue. We're going to get into some more detail. I'm probably going to drop some names about some of the drama and what do I feel about that. Also, tonight on the members only live stream, we have a special guest, Carl Detroit Love is going to be with us. We're going to be talking to him. You know him. You'll love him. He holds, he pulls no punches. He tells no lies. He's a truth teller. We're going to be talking to Detroit Live in the members only section. Listen, if you want to be part of that conversation, you got to be a member. Smash the join button. Become a member. It's $5 a month. You get access to every after show, which every time I do it this week, I'm going to have an after show. Members only. We're going to be talking about whatever you want to talk about. It's laid back. It's low key, answering your questions. And tonight, it's going to be exclusive with Detroit Love. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for stopping by, checking out the channel, and have a blessed weekend. Don't work too hard. I'll see all of you right back here next time. Peace.